Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, I bring back Michael Hartman. How you doing?
Not too bad, Danny. How are you?
Yeah, good. On this session, we're going to be chatting PPC. So I've been experimenting with some stuff in terms of doing single keyword ranking rather than having loads of different variants on keywords in a campaign. I've just gone after certain keywords, in some cases spent 2.5 grand on a single keyword to help with ranking organically. So that's been working quite well for me. But Michael, what have you been doing?
I've been doing the what we call push campaigns. I've been a strong believer in these for about 2 years, actually.
Yeah.
Um, and so we've been doing around 3 to 4 campaigns
Yeah.
on single keywords, doing broad, exact, and phrase,
Yeah.
and we're doing different bid allotments under each one.
Right.
So, and we're noticing that on certain campaigns, the broad will perform better. On other campaigns, the phrase will perform better, and other ones, the exact will perform better. So that'll give us the exact cost of what we need when we're doing those, so we can pause, the least performing ones, so we're not losing as much money and
Mhm.
push on those. And the reason I don't do just exact is I noticed that when we're doing the broad and the phrase, we are growing the long tails drastically.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the long tails will push up the main keyword.
Yeah.
So if you can grow your long tails, then you can grow your main keyword much easier.
Yeah.
And for us in, let's say, low competition keywords, we can rank in a few days.
Yeah.
Medium competition, about 3 weeks. High competition, you still need to do some launch strategy
Yeah.
with that. But unless you want to go for the long game. But I mean, I took on some high demand stuff over a 3 month period just with push campaigns on break even or profit.
Yeah.
So for me, on one account, we actually do no giveaways. We just use PPC because
Yeah.
we have hundreds of SKUs. So when we find a good SKU, we launch it only with PPC on the pushes.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's the thing is that I like still to use launches. I've got my own setup. Some people use launch services. They still work and stuff. But what I was looking at is the longer view. It's more expensive for my experiments. Like what you're saying there in terms of doing PPC, and when like with Databril, we've got larger accounts where it's difficult for people to do this method when you've got multiple variations. Just because of the sheer cost of it, you need a larger budget. But what's interesting for me is that what you were saying there, that you said you look at it from a different angle to me. So you were saying the broad and the phrase help with the main keyword because of the variations on the search term. Yeah. So they become
correct.
the longer tail of the main keyword. Yeah.
Hmm.
In,
That's
in,
correct.
in very basic terms, right?
Correct.
Obviously, there's variants, but in very basic terms. Now, check this out, like from a flip side. You put a product onto the Amazon marketplace. There's no conversion, there's no history, there's no nothing. You've done nothing. You put it on there and it has to sit at the bottom of the Amazon jungle somewhere, right? Because it's got no history,
Correct.
it's done nothing, right?
Correct.
But then what I found is that when you do the exact match keyword and just a single keyword, like you go after the, pretty much the main keywords in, competitive categories, you can test this on long tails as well. But with your theory about the long tail, here's my theory. What I do is I'll take that keyword, the exact match keyword, I'll get a load of the other keywords that I want to rank for anyway. I'll put them in the tracker on day one. So they appear in plus 300. So they're not actually registered as recording. And as soon as I start making sales through that exact match keyword, I then start to see traction on these other keywords coming in at 297, 166, 155. And what I found is that I called it the all tides rising effect. So you've got your main keyword, and like what you said, the long tail version of those keywords. When I am making sales through that exact match keyword, the long tail variants are actually starting to rank as well. And I've done nothing with them. So it's a different process to you. Like, so I might go and spend 2.5 grand on a keyword, and then it ranks the other keywords as well, but not in, say, the top 5, top 6, top 7 position. It will take them up to 17, 18, 19, sometimes 9, and then they will bounce around from the tracking that I've got for them. They
Hmm.
won't be like completely stabilized. So we may be looking at two ends of the chain here. Because
Correct.
Yeah, you see where I'm coming from. You're spending money on the phrase and broad matches, which generate those search terms, which is a good way to, that's a great way for discovery. Because obviously, but by doing that, you're creating the discovery to see where you can either get macro and micro conversions on these long tail keywords, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my method is not including discovery. The only discovery we're doing is using tools that has Amazon data in effect, like the marketplace tools that people use out there that is considered to have Amazon original, like proper data. And we're taking the search volume and the relevance of those keywords and using them from out as our benchmark, not from conversion history.
I actually agree with you to a point. So for me, I'm looking at, if I'm pushing the long tails, it's the rising tide effect. It pushes the exact as well. But if I push all three pillars, I'm thinking it's going to go up faster because
Gotcha.
I'm going to have more conversions, more impressions, more everything else.
Yeah.
And as long as even if I lose money, I don't care in the beginning, but the more clicks, the more traffic, the more sales I'm going to get.
Yeah.
So if I can launch it harder, because maybe under exact, I won't have enough impressions, or because, the PPC algorithm isn't always going to give you placement. Mm-hmm. And maybe I can't spend the $100, $200 a day I want to spend. Yeah. I can put it into the long tails. Yeah. And that's where the broad and the phrase come in.
If you want to get around that, what I've found is if you just run a quick Facebook campaign and do giveaways, do 90% discounts, get some sales through that keywords for a storefront URL, and then you're starting to appear in terms of getting some impression share within your campaign. Because I've had that before where you're getting no traction on the keyword that you want to work with. So I just do some giveaways to get the traction.
What's funny is most of the time we're launching products, we're launching upwards of 27 variations. Right. And so what we do is we throw all of those variations into one push campaign for like a week. Yeah. And we see what Amazon defines as the best variation, So which one has the best ACoS, the most sales, the best conversion rate. Yeah. So then we take that particular variation out and throw it into its own campaign. Yeah. So, and then from there, we've had very, very good results with this. Yeah. This method has worked really well. I mean, to give you, for instance, our PPC sales are around 60% of our overall sales on this account. And our ACoS is, it hovers around 40%, which is exactly where I want it to be. Yeah. Over time, the longer the campaign's been active and the longer the product's been active, the ACoS will drop as low as, 5-10% on some. And then on the newer campaigns, they're like 60-70%, but they whittle down, over time as the reviews come in. If the reviews are good, if the reviews are crap, kill the campaign because it's not worth it in the first place. Yeah. So
that makes sense. And you're launching these with no reviews, I take it, because for instance,
none.
Yeah, I out the gates, you've gone hard on this, no reviews, and I was working out that what I end up doing is I drop the price plus I do a voucher with an amount off, not a percentage, but an amount off, so you get that little orange tick on the search pages, so it catches the person's eye. So you've got a product, you look at the average price of the page, you bring it below market value, but you're providing value because you've got you've got a good product, or it's deemed as the premium product, but it's done at a lower, cheaper price, so it might be 20% cheaper than the average for the market within the top 10 of that page, for instance. So I'll run that, and then I'm finding even without reviews, I was converting every 6 clicks, but my bid were high because I wanted the visibility to start off with. And then what I do over time is as the reviews come in, I was finding that I was taking it from every 6 clicks and converting every 3 clicks without changing the price. And then I would start to taper off on my bids, so start to reduce the bids. But in that period of time, you're starting off with, say, 90% of your sales or 95% of your sales of PPC. And eventually they start to what I call taper off. So I have a process where I start to taper off because you want to start bringing that ACoS down. You want to be able to start bringing up that price because it's a good way to see if your price will be suffered in the marketplace. And what I mean by that, when you're doing giveaways, a lot of people complain that their product then just disappears. Like it'll get to position number 3 and then fall off and it doesn't stick. A good way of finding out if something's going to stick is if people will suffer the price that you want to market enter the market at and keep it at is where your profitability is going to be.
I would say for low and medium competition products, it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Just by looking at the CPR method, what I need to rank products to like number one.
Yeah.
I think it's just cheaper to just launch it with PPC.
Yeah.
It also, like, over time, you're right, we do trim back on the budgets as long as they're performing, or if they're not performing where we want, but we want to maintain a rank, then we'll trim back, even if we lose money on the PPC, but we're still making money on the overall product. And if I kill the PPC, everything goes down, I'll just leave it. Yeah. And I use a lot of tools to look at our individual SKUs, because realistically, we have thousands and thousands of SKUs over all the accounts. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So when we're getting ready for new products, I can watch it daily. I can watch PPC spend. I can watch giveaway spends. I can watch everything.
Yeah. So how do you articulate that to your clients? Because it's different for me. I would do that on my own products, because it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if I want to spend a couple of grand on a keyword. That's my experiment. So how are you articulating the benefits to your clients? Are you able to demonstrate the method as it does work, and the benefits of with it not being doing giveaways is that it's pretty much full price sales, and obviously you can get
exactly. So we have a beta account in house, like one that we're pretty open with our clients about.
Yeah.
And then so I'll take that beta account and I'll open it up and I'll do a screen share, and I'll show them the seller legend data, the ranking for that thing, and walk them through the process of how we got there with only doing PPC with no reviews. Yeah. And on that account is like the cleanest account you could ever have. So we've never done giveaways on that account. It's just a PPC, and like we try to keep it as white hat as possible, because a lot of different people know this account and I don't want anything bad to go to it. Yeah. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, so. It's amazing. You use the words clean and giveaways, which are completely in terms of service, but people would determine them as not clean. In some cases, it's funny because it gets termed as, a grey area. But is it really grey when there's thousands?
I've seen people get their accounts suspended for doing launches.
Yeah, but is it because of the review acquisition process? Because I always find that people mix the two. It's like you've got to keep your launches and review acquisition two completely different.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I would stick more on, I don't know what Amazon is doing these days, so I'm paying more on the conservative long-term view side on this particular account. Yeah. It is a beta test account. It's also my personal account. Yeah. So I would rather see it on the long term, because I've let's just say, from dealing with Amazon for 4 or 5 years, I've seen a lot of shit. Yeah. And this one, I'm very conservative. On other accounts, we're much more risky. Yeah. But on this one, it's much more conservative on that level.
Totally makes sense. So where are you now at the moment? So once you get to that stage where you're using your broad exact, your phrase matches,
mm-hmm.
What are you doing next? Are you doing it over a few weeks? You're tracking what kind of software? I do it
on certain keywords. I'll leave it running. Mm-hmm. I'm using ASIN to pull the keywords, the bestseller badge. I'm also using Helium 10, 5K checker. I'm using a bunch of different tools, and as long as I maintain I get where I want. If I can trim down on the PPC, I do. If I trim down the PPC and it affects my ranking, then I put it back. Yeah. On certain higher demand keywords, I need to spend $50 a day, or I will lose $500. Yeah. So on that particular keyword, I'm spending only $50 a day. And of course that particular product has other campaigns as well. But I know if I don't spend that money, I'm losing.
So let's wrap this here. So top down, how are you setting up these campaigns quickly? So if people want to do your method.
I'm doing 4 campaigns, same keyword, broad phrase, exact, doing different bids with different bid increments in those campaigns.
Yeah.
And funneling from there, those 4 campaigns. So I'm only having either broad or phrase or exact in one campaign, and keeping 3 out of the 4 and then scaling the crap out of it.
Yeah.
In the beginning. And when I get to where I want to be, then I trim back either on the bids. If it's a profitable campaign, I'll let it run forever. I mean, I don't care. If it's not profitable, then I will trim back on the bids because I believe at some point every keyword is profitable.
Yeah.
So
makes total sense. Best way people can reach you?
Innoventic.com, INNOVENTIC.com is the website, or Michael@Innoventic.com is the email.
Sounds good. Guys, thank you for joining us. Michael, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you again in the next few days. Take care.